Welcome back to the Prime Focus Goalkeeping channel. I'm your host, Brandon Miller, and today we're going to talk about some tips to help you really refine your basket catch, really make things clean, and so we're not giving up a lot of rebounds. A lot of the issues that we see with goalkeepers sometimes, they don't use the right hand shape, they don't create enough space for the ball to come in, they don't keep their elbows tight enough, they don't get low enough. There's a lot of reasons why the basket catch doesn't work for a lot of goalkeepers. And so we're gonna talk about 3 important tips today. The first big tip is creating the area for the ball to come into. That's the biggest thing, right? Not enough goalkeepers, they either leave their arms straight and the ball just ends up bouncing off their forearms. A lot of times goalkeepers want to get too low with their hand shape and they either try to catch right here or they get here, but they're trying to catch just with their hands. So with a basket catch, the biggest thing is creating the space, creating the area for the ball to come into. And with that, it's not having my elbows out wide, but being a little bit tighter and having the area for that ball to come into nice and clean and safe and secure. So that's tip number 1, creating that space, creating that area, understanding my elbows can't be too wide, understanding it's not about my forearms and my hands being right here, it's about creating an area that the ball can come into. Tip number 2, getting lower. This is a big one for a lot of goalkeepers. Shots come from out wide or pretty far, and they either stay too far up, too high, or they're bending straight over. A part of it is getting low enough, creating that area, but getting low enough so that the ball can come in. Because if we create that area and stay really high, ball just ends up bouncing off our hands or bouncing off our forearms, right? So once we've created the area, we want to get low enough to where the ball can come in safely. And then the third tip is finishing off the motion, right? A lot of times goalkeepers create the area, they're here and they just expect the ball to stay in this area without securing the ball in. Okay, so let's take a look at what the technique looks like. So I'm here, I'm set, that ball comes in, I create the area, I get low, my chest is covering down, and my hands secure the ball, right? So some of the issues that we see, goalkeepers, ball comes in, and the goalkeepers just use their forearms and just expect the forearms to catch the ball. And that's not simply what happens, right? We've got to create, it's got to be an entire movement where everything comes together, right? Now the issue there, you see my elbows. My elbows are a little bit wider. Now I've caught it here just because I didn't want the ball to drop, but a lot of times that ball comes in and the ball goes through our arms because we don't keep our elbows tight enough, okay? So we've got to get used to bringing those elbows a little bit tighter and giving the ball a safe, secure space to play. Now we look at it one more time, that ball comes in and we're nice and tight here. See how low I've gotten here, right? It all depends on the height of the ball. If the ball's a little bit higher, obviously we don't have to get as low, right? But if that ball comes in a little bit lower, we can't just stand up top. So let's look at it from a different angle, right? Ball's maybe not just driven right at you, ball's bouncing in. It's a very similar technique. It's the very same thing. We just have to read the bounce a little bit more, whether it's getting a little bit lower or maybe I am a little bit higher, but I can still use this technique. A lot of goalkeepers struggle with when to switch their hands. If they're set like this, a lot of goalkeepers want to go here and they want to go here. They just keep their hand shape the same all the time, right? So let's look at it here. When that ball gets tossed in a little bit lower and I'm trying to go here, right? It's difficult to, 1, time that bounce, but also 2, to catch a ball like this, right? So that's why I suggest for my goalkeepers, anytime that ball is between, I'd say, calf height and your belly button, at minimum, we're looking at a basket catch. All right, so let's look at it when the ball's bounced in, right? We have to judge that bounce, maybe adjust our feet a little bit, but we still have to get low. We still have to allow that ball to come in, and then we have to secure it. Let's look at one more. We're set here, ball's bouncing in. I adjust my feet and I get low, elbows tight, hands secure. All right, so those are the 3 important tips for that basket catch. The basket catch is a very important technique and we have to understand when to use it. If we're set and we're ready to catch volleys, sometimes that ball goes lower and we need to adjust our hands. Okay, so we've got to understand, 1, we got to create the area. We got to create the space, elbows tighter, let that ball come into your body. 2, we've got to get a little bit lower. We can't just stand up, be in our upright set position, and then expect the ball to come into the same space every single time. And 3, we just have to finish off the motion, right? Secure that ball, make sure it's comfortable and tight in there, and then we can go from there. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in our comment section. But until next time, stay focused.